Hi, my name is Natasha Tennyson. I'm 24 years old and I'm working currently as a social content editor. I would say ever since I was little, I always knew I wanted to do film. When I was little, I would always make these films with my friends. We would just film these short films basically, and I would go home and I would edit them. And I always knew that that was kind of my passion. When I was younger, I also did a lot of theater. I was really heavily involved with acting within my school. I also did a lot of community theater. At that point, I didn't know if I wanted to go into acting or production side. I still didn't know at that point, but I just knew that I wanted to be in that environment and within that industry. I would say high school was a big, major influence in my decision for going into film and media. Deciding to go to Queen's was extremely hard. I had applied to a bunch of universities and I got into all of them, but I just didn't know where I would fit in. I didn't know, yes, I knew what program would probably be best for me in terms of what was hands-on, what was more film history, and I wanted more hands-on. But I wanted to also know where I would fit in best with my personality, the people, the environment. So I actually went to Queen's. I completely fell in love with the atmosphere, the people, the history of Queen's, the Bader. When I walked to the Bader, my jaw dropped. When I saw that building, I was like, oh my God, I need to go to this school. I'm very fortunate because I feel like my family, first of all, I'm very close with my family, and I feel like throughout every turn, road bump, everything in my life, my parents and my brother too have been there for me through it all. My dad is probably the person I look up to most in life because he had a very big dream and he achieved it. And it's not it's out of the norm what he did. He chased a dream and I looked at him and I went, I want to do that. I want to do this so badly. And I know that if I just believe in myself and I have confidence, I will achieve these things. And he supported me through all of it. The minute I got to Queen's and it was Frosh Week, all of that, they were incredible in the sense of showing you what extracurriculars there were to do at the university, and I just ate them up. I went to that, I think it was a fair where they had them in the park with all their flyers and stuff, and the first thing I saw was Studio Q. I knew that Studio Q was right for me because I immediately saw photography, videography, graphics design. Joining Studio Q was probably the best decision I ever made because I not only got a lot of experience with photography, filming, all of that, I met such an amazing group of people that I still talk to today. Fourth year was a time. It was probably the best year of university because it was you're finishing university, you're almost going to be out into the world, which is scary, but I was so excited for that moment. But the most amazing part of fourth year was the final year project in the film program. So we had to choose a project, what we wanted to do, and I really had trouble with this because I had always been okay, I'm gonna make a short film. I'm gonna create something like that. And I was no, I wanna do something that's gonna make an impact. So I actually had a family friend that went through a very hard time with anxiety, depression, and overcame all of it and through triathlons. And I was blown away by his story. It always inspired me personally, and I wanted the rest of the world to know his story. I followed his journey. I went to Hawaii. I was so fortunate to go and film him there racing, and I never stopped filming. The thing with documentary is you never want to turn your camera off. So I filmed the documentary. We showed it at the end of the year screening, and it was the most rewarding experience of my life. Yeah, it was so incredible seeing my stuff up on screen because it was just holy shit. Sorry. It was just a full circle moment for me, and I was so proud of everything that I had accomplished up to that point. So 2019 was the year I graduated, and I was okay, it's getting real now. I'm about to go out there and I'm about to work, and I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue what I wanted to do, where to even start. There was an opportunity to apply for this internship to go to Cannes Film Festival. So I had to make this video essay, I guess, to like say why I wanted to go to Cannes and what I had to offer. So I made the video, I submitted it, and I'm refreshing my email. I'm like, please, please, please. And it comes in and it's like, you've been accepted to Cannes Film Festival internship with Creative Minds. And my heart stopped. I was like, I'm going to Cannes Film Festival. What? So I went to Cannes. I worked as a photographer assistant with Hollywood Reporter, and I was there for 2 weeks for the entire film festival. And to this day, that was probably the best memory of my entire life thus far. But it was just to see the environment of Cannes during the film festival. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. It was magical. It was crazy. Being in Cannes and working with this photographer, we had to work with a lot of actors. And I walk into work the first day, and the photographer that I work for says to me, okay, so get ready, we're gonna go shoot Priyanka Chopra. I'm like, sorry, what? So we went, I met Priyanka Chopra, Helen Mirren, Bill Murray. Yeah, I met so many incredible actors, and it was just like, honestly, the most rewarding experience, because not only that, I got to go to a lot of the screenings. I was so fortunate enough to get a ticket to one of the screenings. I got to see The Dead Don't Die. So if anyone is looking to do an internship, I really hope that they're still doing it, because I highly recommend it. So I got back from Cannes, and I kind of had a questioning period for a couple months where I was like, okay, I still kind of want to know and touch on acting, and I applied for the Humber Acting for Film and Television program. So I did that for about a year, and then COVID hit, and my world literally turned upside down, because I was like, great, no one's accepting new talent for agencies. I don't really want to waste applying, and I wanted that one extra year of acting school, because it was a 2-year program. And I couldn't go back to school because everything just went in lockdown. We all couldn't go back into the studio to act. I stopped school, school ended, my first year I completed, and I was like, okay, I need a job. My friend sent me this story frame from an influencer, and it said looking for a YouTube editor. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I haven't really edited for YouTube. I think that would be really cool to edit some vlogs. And I immediately reached out. I had no expectations to hear back. I was like, there's no way. And I got a response. I did a test edit for her, and the rest is history. I'm still working for her today, full-time as a social content editor. It's definitely not what I thought I'd be doing right now. I think if COVID didn't happen, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today, but in a way it was kind of a blessing, because it slowed me down, and it really, really allowed me to think about, okay, what do I want to do? So I would say with this job, it's really shown me a side of like the industry that I didn't really know existed. I always knew about influencers, but I didn't know like truly how hard they work and how much effort is put into their content creation. Honestly, I'm so thankful to be a part of it, and it's so rewarding seeing how far the person I've worked for has come, and it's just, I'm so proud of her and everything we've accomplished over the past 2 years that I've worked with her. I went to New York Fashion Week this year, and just being there in like that setting and seeing all of the influencers walking the streets with their outfits, and like just that atmosphere was so cool, and such a like, is this my life moment? So we made this course. It's actually called Mind Your Business by Nitsan Rader, and it teaches people how to get into the industry, get into that, like it basically answers the question of, how do I start? How do I reach out to brands? How do I get into this industry? If you don't know, because it is really hard to find those answers. You can't just Google them. And it's nice to hear from someone that has been in the industry and has so much under her belt and so much experience, so much things that she's faced, that she knows how to overcome them. So I highly recommend taking that course if you're questioning, I guess, wanting to go into that industry. As for advice I would give, I would say for anyone that's, I guess, struggling or not knowing really what to do with their life, or if you're stuck, I'm still stuck sometimes. I still question myself all the time. And I think that that's a good thing because you shouldn't ever feel comfortable. I don't want to feel comfortable ever. I want to be challenged. Even sometimes when I feel like I'm very comfortable in my position and I don't feel like I'm challenged, I ask if I can do anything more. I'm so happy that I did something that I never thought I'd be doing right now, because if I didn't, I would have stayed within that one field. Get yourself out there, talk to people, make yourself business cards. And if you're ever talking to people, just hand them one. When I went to Cannes, I printed myself off like a bunch of business cards, and it was so weird to see myself, like my name on something, but I handed them out. If you don't have confidence in yourself, it's gonna be very tough to ever move forward, because you're your biggest enemy. And if you don't hype yourself up and know deep down in your heart that you can do it, then you won't. And so my biggest advice is confidence and putting yourself out there. Yeah, I'm excited for my future. I don't know what it holds, but I'm excited to keep learning, keep discovering, and who knows where I'll be, but I'm excited to see.